national
The
interest
goal of the
this
trip is not to get a giant gift that he can say belongs to him as president, but then he takes with him when he leaves the office.
Abby, you have to distance yourself from Trump derangement syndrome. It's irrelevant to policy. It doesn't matter.
Okay,
what matters
Kevin,
is, why are all these AI guys on this trip?
Have you heard of the emoluments clause?
Wait. Why do you have all the leaders?
Kevin, no, seriously. And do you understand that even if you think that maybe it might be okay,
how many fairies dance on a pin does not do policy.
Incredibly dubious.
So let me ask you.
That's Shark Tank's Kevin O'Leary shoving a red pill directly into the faces of Abby Phillip and an entire CNN panel after they conveniently discovered the Constitution, now that Trump happens to be in the White House again. Welcome to Nerk News, I'm Nerkish, and Kevin O'Leary just did what most conservatives only dream of. He called out the liberal media to their faces because Abby Phillip and her fellow Democrat apologists spent years pretending Biden was sharp as ever and Kamala was historic. Now they're pretending they care about constitutional succession because they're terrified of what's next. Here's O'Leary lighting them up for their selective outrage and anti-Trump obsession.
Of health. It's that simple. If you seek the supreme office, the leader of the free world, you give up the right for privacy with your doctor on a cognitive health test. This poor man was broken. And look what happened to the country, and look at how he's being beaten up. It's almost immoral what we're doing to him now, to sell books. I was there at the White House dinner watching this. The same reporters who didn't report on him are profiting from his decline.
Which dinner?
It's outrageous what they're doing.
Which dinner, by the way?
White House Correspondents' Dinner.
What? Oh, you're talking about
I was
just a few weeks ago.
Actually,
it was outrageous.
It wasn't just deception about a campaign. The man was the sitting president of the United States. There's more at stake here than just politics. There's in-the-moment decision-making. Was the country at risk? Who was making decisions on behalf of the country? Because obviously the president was impaired, and there were people who knew it. There were people, those same people were lying about it publicly. And now the real question is, who was making decisions behind the scenes? You can't just move past it. It happened, and you can't move past it.
Why didn't any of the people around? Why didn't any of the people around Joe Biden say, "Mr. President, don't do this"? I mean, I forget about what they say publicly. Sure. What about privately? It doesn't seem that anybody has said that.
Actually.
No. I mean, before it became a public spectacle, in the year before he was on that debate stage.
You know, it's rich watching people like Abby Phillip pretend they've been principled constitutionalists all along. These are the same people who told us for years that concerns about Biden's cognitive decline were conspiracy theories. Now suddenly they're clutching the Constitution and panicking because they've run out of ways to gaslight the public. And O'Leary nails it. The entire establishment media, CNN, MSNBC, The Washington Post, has been complicit. They didn't just miss the signs about Biden's decline, they actively covered them up until the donor class gave the green light to toss him aside. Here's O'Leary making the panel lose their minds once again by saying out loud what they all know but are too scared to admit about Kamala Harris.
To be the nominee, and so yes,
you're not finishing this properly. I was here.
I'm not finishing my thought properly.
Now we're going to talk about it. They did not run a process. They picked a loser, and she lost, and she got slaughtered because they didn't run a process.
Hold on.
Anybody can do that.
First of all, like, let's just make sure that we maintain some respect for Kamala Harris.
The former vice president of the United States.
Referring to her as a loser.
She was never elected in a process.
I think referring to her as a loser
she
is
should have run against
disrespectful.
Other contenders.
And I think that we need to make sure that we have
there's nothing about Kamala Harris that's a loser. Let's just put it like that.
Oh, I think there is. She lost big time.
She lost an election.
The biggest
All right, listen, we are not going to hold on.
I'm not being disrespectful. I'm talking fact. She got slaughtered because they disavowed the process. They anointed her, and she got slaughtered.
Kevin,
that's what happened. We don't have to debate
Hold on
fact.
a second.
We do not have to debate fact.
Hold on a second, Kevin. Just one
was
point of
horrific.
clarification. She was elected in the 2020 election along with Joe Biden. She was elected in 2020 on the same ticket as Joe Biden. So there's that.
It's hard
we
to
got to
tell
leave
the
it there
truth.
for this
She couldn't
conversation.
put
But
two
coming up
sentences together.
next, come on, Kevin.
It's true.
That is, we know that that's not true.
You know, O'Leary calling Harris a loser is only controversial to people who live in a media bubble. I mean, let's be honest. She's not just a loser rhetorically, she's a loser literally. She didn't even make it to Iowa in the 2020 primaries. She dropped out before a single vote was cast because even Democrats didn't want her. And we all remember how she got the VP spot. Biden legitimately said he was picking someone based on race and gender, not qualifications. Harris just happened to check the boxes, and the party circled the wagons. But the truth is, she's been a disaster ever since. She botched the border, is somehow worse at speaking than Biden, and her voter enthusiasm is a media fabrication. I mean, she lost again in 2024 despite $1 billion war chest because working people saw right through her inauthentic identity politics. The establishment media hacks on CNN aren't defending her because she's effective, they're defending her because she might be the next chosen puppet to lead California. So the press is doing everything they can to cover their rears and pave the way for her. But let me know what you think. Why are conservatives expected to play nice while Democrats call them every mean name in the book? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. That stuff really does help us out. Until then, this has been Nerk News. Thanks for watching. Bye.